video, I'm going to show you how to make a journal with a hidden tab binding, and you only need to print the journal pages on one side. Hello, I am Tinne from VectoriaDesigns, and if you like to make vintage style journals with ephemera touches, you are going to love our Vintage Ephemera kit. Old papers, old colors and old documents is what you're gonna get. And I made a tutorial with these printables to create a journal where you don't have to print the journal pages on two sides. And you also don't have to sew if that's a pet peeve. In this tutorial, I use a tab binding technique. Now, there are already tons of videos explaining how to do this, but usually the strips that hold all your pages together are visible and they cover part of your pages. The way I explain this video, you will hardly see the strips, like little tiny pieces between the pages, that's all. And I also want to give you a free journal page to try this technique. So if you want, you can print this journal page as many times as you like and make a whole journal of it according to this tutorial. And by the way, you will also get this sheet with free embellishments. Our regular email subscribers get these all the time, sometimes 8 per month. And normally they're exclusive, nobody else can get them. But if you want, you can just opt in via the link in the description and you will get these 2 pages and also in the future similar other freebies, multiple ones per month. If the Vintage Ephemera kit that I'm using in this tutorial is totally not your style, you can use all kinds of printable journal kits to follow along, large and small. You just decide the number of sheets yourself. But of course, if you like this kit, you can use it for many other crafts as well. If you want more information on this kit, you can check it out in my Etsy shop, the link is below. And now let's start crafting. Enjoy! So this is a journal that we're going to make, and yes, I added some lace here, but that's totally optional. And this is what the back looks like. Of course, you're not supposed to do what I'm doing now, but it's so cool to look at. So in this whole journal, every journal page is printed single-sided, plus the binding is not sewn, but made with all kinds of tiny little paper strips. And normally, if you look up this tutorial on YouTube, a lot of the tutorials show you that you can see the whole strips on your page and then you have stuff going on here. And now this way that I do it, you don't see the strips, just tiny little bit in the center here. For the rest, it looks like this. So let me quickly go through it. I just printed all the journal pages from this kit once, but of course you can use other printable journal pages as well instead. This is what it looks like. There, and everything lies so super flat. That's a bonus. Okay, and now let me show you how to make it. For starters, you need all your journal pages, so print them out and cut them down to size. Now for this tutorial, and also many of our other tutorials, you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. But for reference, I printed all 24 journal pages from this kit on 120 grams paper. So it's not too light, not too thick, but that's a preference. You can use lighter paper, then your journal will be smaller. You can use heavier paper and then you will have very sturdy sheets. So I printed all 24 journal pages from this kit. You can print them twice and then you have a double wide journal if you like, or print less, or use a smaller journal kit with less journal pages to make this. It's all up to you and it's all possible. Now, for reference, mine are 8 inches high when they come out of the printer and when I print them out. But maybe yours are a little bit larger, you print borderless, I didn't, etc. All pages will come out of the printer a little bit different, but that doesn't matter at all for this tutorial. Now, an optional thing that you can do, that I did already with all the other pages, is you can use some ink to lightly ink the edges. So the top and bottom and the back won't feel white, because otherwise you will just feel the white of the paper. But that's optional. You can also do that afterwards, but it's a bit more thorough if you do it beforehand. Okay, so I have my 24 journal pages and now I'm going to fold them all in half by hand. I'm not going to use my scoreboard here for this because I really want this to line up as perfect as possible. So, like this. Use a bone folder if you need to. And then you can check. If you still see a little bit of white peeping out, use some ink or cut off the little white piece, so that especially for this kit it will be very, very grungy and vintagey. And yeah, just fold them in half and do that with each and every one of your journal pages. There, I folded all my journal pages and I put them in the order that I want them to be. And now we are going to attach all these pages together so that they form a block that we can later on put in a cover. But I'm also already going to attach these pages to the inner covers, or you can call them end papers if you like. So just some design that will be shown on the inner side of the cover, front and back. And for that I chose this marbled paper, and I'm going to cut out two pieces that are equally as large as my journal page fold in half. And I think I can get two out of one. See? Maybe I have to see. So I'm going to cut two pieces that are, for me, you measure your own. For me they are 5 3/16 and 8. Let's see if that's possible. I'm also going to ink these. By the way, I am using Vintage Photo ink color, just a brown color for this kit, because that works very well with the vintage feel. So let me quickly ink these edges. That's optional, but I like to give it a vintage, vintage extra. And I didn't check, but they will probably fit perfectly. Yes, they have the same size. And to attach all these together, we're gonna use some little strips. And I'm going to cut these now, because we're gonna need more than 60. Now, these are not little strips yet, these are large strips. And they are, I already folded a few, but I'm gonna show you. These are the same height as your journal page. So measure your journal page and make sure it's the same height. And I made them 2 inches wide. It's okay if they're a little bit less wide. I just took 2 inches so I can very easily score them in half like this. There. Like this. Now, and then I'm already going to fold them in half. It just makes the whole process easier later. I have 8 of these, and I think it's gonna be enough, but you can easily make more if you need some more. Depends on how many journal pages you have, etc. Now, how to determine how big your strips will be. I will cut them in 1 inch high strips. If you have also 8 inch high journal pages or a little bit more, that's more than enough. If they're a little bit smaller, that's probably also more than enough. You just have to check that they won't overlap each other, otherwise it won't work. So mine are 8 inches high, as I said, my journal pages. And if I use 5 of these strips, I have 3 inches left for openings in between, so they will definitely not overlap. It's just if you use 1.5 inch wide strips, then you have to watch very carefully your strips are not overlapping, you see? But you can choose, you can make them a bit larger, a bit smaller. Just make sure you can fit 5 strips on this with some room in between. Now for me, I'm gonna make it very easy. By the way, you only need to measure in the beginning. You don't have to measure on all of these, no worries at all. So I'm gonna start my first strip at 1/2 inch. My strip is going to be 1 inch wide, so it will be between here. And then I will have 1/2 inch opening, another strip here, then 1/2 inch opening, another 1 inch strip here, 1/2 inch opening, one other strip here, 1/2 inch opening, and you see I can fit 5 of these little 1 inch wide strips in between. Do you have to space them out evenly? No, you can choose. You can make them narrower, you can make them wider. Just make sure there is like an opening in between. So if you're sure like, hey, a 1 inch high strip will definitely work, or no, I want to make them higher, or no, I want to make them smaller, or whatever you want. If you know what your height is going to be, you can just cut these to size. So I'm going to cut these 8 strips into 1-inch high pieces. There, I have all of them ready. With a paper trimmer, this goes really, really fast. If you have a guillotine trimmer, you just stack them on top of each other and you can do several at the same time. Now, I have my pieces, I have my papers, I have my glue stick, I have some sheets that I can glue on to make sure no glue gets on my work surface. And yes, you're gonna need a lot of glue stick. But for me, that's the fastest way to work, the easiest way I find, but you can definitely use other glue as well, wet glue if you like, double-sided tape, but it's more of a hassle because a lot of gluing is gonna go on. So this is just my preferred way to do it for this tutorial. Okay, let's start. So I have here my first journal page that I want in the front of the book. It's gonna open like this, so remember the opening is here. This is the fold, it's gonna be on the outside. And I also have one of the end papers that's gonna come on the inside of my cover. And I'm going to attach them to each other like this. So I'm gonna open it. I already made my marks here. I made all the marks to show you where the little pieces are gonna come. But I'm only going to attach 3 now. So I am first going to attach one of these here. So here, in the middle, and at the end. And I'm going to attach every time one half of these strips. And I'm gonna make sure that the fold is just peeking out of the paper. These are things that you need to take care of. For the rest, it's so easy. So I have here my glue paper, my glue stick, and I'm just gonna put glue on one of these halves. And then I'm gonna measure right between these measurements, and I'm gonna make sure that the fold is peeking out of the paper, so it's not on that paper, but just peeking out. Oh, I had 2. Oh, that's why it felt so thick indeed, yeah. And I'm gonna do that with 3 of those. I'm trying not to put any glue on the fold itself, but if it's that, it will dry very quickly. It won't be in the way. So 1 in the center here, between those marks, like this. And then the last one. Here. Like this. Oops, a bit lower. Like this. Okay. Let me put that glue paper here. And now I'm going to close it and put my end paper like it should be. I think I want it like this. Put it on here like this. And now I can fold them. Yes, they were folding in the other way, but they will fold easily over. I'm going to stick them like this on my end paper. In the beginning, it's like, oh, what you doing? But you have the hang of it like super fast, I promise. So I'm just gonna put this on here. Make sure it is aligned very well with your journal pages. That's why it had to be the exact same size. I'm just gonna put glue on there, keep it in place, and then glue this over like this. Same with the other 2. Oops, not too much glue here. And this one as well. Like this. Okay, so to recap, this piece will be sticking on the inside of the cover, and this will be our first page. And then there will be a second page, and then there will be a third page, etc. Now, this one we're not going to tackle yet. This is going to go right inside the cover later when we're ready with our covers. So we're not going to look at them anymore. What I'm going to do is fold this over, because now we're gonna have to attach this one to the next one, and when everything's attached you can just glue this shut and you won't see these papers. You will only see them peeking out in the center here, and that is all. Brilliant. And then now we're going to attach the other one, and we're going to do that the same way. I'm going to attach 2 pieces right in here, like this. Again, I'm gluing these later, so you won't be confused which one to glue first and which one to glue next in the beginning, like this. So one here, make sure the fold sticks out. Okay, and now once this is done, we can already close this one. So I'm going to, ignore these marks. It was just for me to check something for the tutorial. I'm going to put some glue all over this page. Make sure the edges have enough glue, that we don't have any gaps later. You can also use full sheet double-sided tape if you want, like this double sticker paper. But I find this the quickest and easiest way. So, and then we can just close this neatly, like this. Okay, next. So I have my next page, and I'm gonna put it on top here. So make sure all the folded parts are on the same side. Right on top, yeah, you always have to just put everything right on top of each other. I'm actually going to open it up. It's easier. Yeah, then I'm gonna put one of my glue sheets underneath. And then just put some glue on these and fold over. And later they will be hidden on the inside, like this. And already to attach the next paper, we're gonna need 3 more that I'm going to attach here. Now I don't have to measure anymore, because I can just really see here from the previous one where they come, and the bigger your stack gets, the easier it is to see where you need to put them. So I'm just gonna put some glue on 1/2, and I can easily see, let's just check in the beginning, yeah, with the previous one where they should come. There. And when this is in, I can already close again this page. So from now on, it's the whole time adding 2 or 3 strips, depending where you are, how many you already have, and close the page. That's the only thing you have to do now, over and over and over again. So again, now I have 3. Pick my next page. Always see that you put them the right way up. Like this. Line them up. Glue the ones that are already on there in, and add 2 or 3 more, depending how many room you have. So now I have room for 2 more in between. So I'm gonna just attach these. Oops, that's too much glue. And I can see easily on the previous one just where they need to come. Like this. When they're all in, I can just shut my page, close my page. Just always make sure you have enough glue on the edges so that they close properly. And each of these pages, because we glue them, will be very, very sturdy. Okay, I'm gonna switch this one so it can dry. Next one on top. Open it up, line it up. Add glue and close. Now I have room for 3 more. I'm gonna just glue them in. And close. And just keep on going the same way until you have all of these in. And then at the last one, I'm going to show you, no worries, I'm going to show you. We're going to attach this end paper again. And then we can just make our covers and glue the whole thing in. So as you can see, I am almost at the end. I just have to now attach this back cover piece to it. It's gonna come like this. So again, I'm just going to do what I've been doing for the past half hour. I'm going to add these. The last ones. I know, there are a lot. And now I can close this one. And close. There you go. Now I'm going to pretend this is another page, but it is the end page here. I'm gonna lay it on top here. Do I want it like this or like this? No, like this. I'm gonna add my glue and just fold them over. It is the same thing. I just wanted to show you what the end looked like. And it is like this. There. And now our whole book block is ready. We just need to make a cover and to put it in. That's it. So it opens like this. We have all our pages, our sturdy pages. And the only thing you see is these little thingies in between. You don't see the rest of those tabs. So you see, I haven't been super straight. You can of course measure everything, but I think it has quite a charm when you do it like this. That's your choice, or you measure every single page where to put the tabs, or you just look at the previous one. And now we're going to measure how large our cover pieces are going to be. So normally I make my cover pieces 1/4 inch wider and higher than my pages, but now I'm going to make it only 1/8 inch wider, because I'm going to align the back of my cover with the back of our book block here. Because if you let it stick over, so come a little bit wider here or something, you can't properly open your book anymore. So it has to be flush with the back side. For the height, just make it 1/4 inch 6 millimeter higher. So 1/8 inch 3 millimeter wider, 1/4 inch 6 millimeter higher. And you make 2 of these, one for the front, one for the back. That's it. And you have a choice. So I have this 1 millimeter thick chipboard. I also have 2 millimeter thick chipboard, which is nice and sturdy. But I think I'm going to use the 1 millimeter one for this one. You don't have to buy chipboard. You can also save your cereal boxes and that type of box, etc. Glue a few layers on top, and then in the end cut out to size. you will cover them up anyway. So my cover piece needs to be 8 plus a quarter is 8 1/4, and I think these are 8 1/4, perfect. And my block is almost 5 1/4, so I'm going to make it 5 3/8. And I'm gonna cut 2 pieces. So I cut these and I will align the back with the back side of the book. And then I have like 1/8 of an inch all around left. A little bit more on this side, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm gonna put this aside for a bit and now concentrate on my cover. You need some paper to cover the outside. I printed this one from the kit. Yeah, if you've seen a bunch of my videos already, you might know what I'm gonna do right now. The point is to glue this on this. So the way I do it is I'm just going to put some double-sided tape on the edge. You can just use double-sided tape all over, wet glue all over, mix tape with glue like I am going to do. It's a preference. Making sure this tape is really sticking to the chipboard. This. Remove the backing. I'm gonna put some wet glue in the center. I'm gonna spread it out to avoid lumpy covers. It's okay to have some glue over your tape, absolutely. Makes that you can move a little bit more because tape is very unforgiving. If you're wrong, you're wrong. There. Now I'm going to put this on my paper. I'm gonna leave about at least 1/2 inch on the top and the side, and be as straight as you can. There you go. And now I'm going to roughly cut this off, so I also have about 1/2 inch or a bit more left, like this. And now I'm going to fold all 4 sides against the edges. And also I'm going to cut the corners, so slightly at an angle here towards the corner, but keep away a little bit from the corner so you can cover that one as well. And then turn your scissors and cut like this. And do that with all 4 corners. Cut at a slight angle, turn. Cut at a slight angle, turn, and make sure you don't touch the corners. Okay, and now I'm going to take my tape again and put some tape right next to on the tab right next to the chipboard. It's okay if you have some paper left over above your tape, that's okay. But make sure you have your tape right next to the chipboard so you won't have any air gaps. It's just all a little bit neater. And also that tape will glue against the side of your chipboard. That's particularly important if you have a wide, thick piece of chipboard, like heavy chipboard, okay, like this. And now I'm going to remove the backings of the sides. And then pull. Put some muscle in it. Same with the other side. Really pull glue and make sure everything sticks, and then remove the backings of your side pieces. Of course, you can use glue as well, and then do one by one. Okay. Push in those corners and then pull and glue. Same on the other side. First push in those corners. I barely have some. Pull and glue. And that, my friends, is how I usually cover a cover piece. Okay, there. And now I'm going to do exactly the same with the back one. I have here the exact same piece printed for that one. Good. I am going to embellish this cover a little bit. I cut this piece from one of the other papers, and I'm going to glue that onto this piece of craft cardstock, which is tiny bit larger than this paper. So an 1/8 of an inch wider and higher than this page. So like a 1/16 of an inch, a millimeter will stick out. I inked both edges, and I'm just going to glue this one on top quickly. Nicely in the center. Okay. And I'm going to glue this here so that the sides and the top are approximately the same width. You can measure. Of course, there are a million ways to finish a cover. This is just an example. Like this. Is that nicely straight? Yes, that's good enough for me. And I'm also going to add a label holder. Again, this is completely optional. And I'm going to put this little word in there. It's one of the words of the embellishment sheets, but I printed it a lot smaller, like 50% smaller almost. So because they were quite big, too big for this little tiny label holder. And I'm just going to glue that in here so it won't ever fall out, unless that is what you want. You want to replace it later. And to glue tiny little things, I usually add a drop of glue on a piece of paper. And then I take a toothpick and I just add some glue with a toothpick to the edges. So that tiny piece of paper will actually hold and not fall out. Glue this piece of paper inside. Yeah, if some of the glue is peeking, that's actually not a problem because it'll dry clear. I'm gonna remove some of the glue with the back of the toothpick. If you're like, I'm not gonna embellish it that way, just move on with the video. Scroll forward. I'm gonna see where I want it. Think about here. Yeah, that's cute. There. I'm gonna poke these through. Yeah. Do this before you attach everything together, because later on everything that you have here will be hidden. Yay! And I have here 2 tiny little brads to put this label holder into place. there. A piece of double-sided tape on top to protect whatever I'm going to glue on top. Oh yeah, if you want a closure ribbon, now is the time to add them. So the book goes like this, and then you will have a ribbon coming out here, and then a ribbon coming out here in the center. Yeah, let me use this, for example. So to do that, just add some double-sided tape here, glue the ribbon on top here and here, and then it will stick out later. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to glue this in. And just like I said, this one will be glued in here like this. And I'm just going to, let's start with the back cover. Okay, I'm going to put some double-sided tape right along the edges of that end paper here, all around. Careful. Also all over these. Try to be neat and tidy. So really nicely next to the edge. There, make sure it's the right way up. Gonna remove the backing. You can just use glue all over again. And you can also use tape all over, whatever you desire. I'm just going to take my glue again. Yeah. And go all over here. Spread it out to avoid any blobs. And now, is this the right way up? Yeah. I'm gonna put this on top here, or actually the other way around, but make sure that this edge is nicely next to that edge here. So it's completely lined up. And you have an 1/8 of an inch on the top and the bottom. And then normally you have an 1/8 of an inch, a little bit more in my case. I made them a little bit wider on the side. Okay, this needs to line up. Important, or your book won't open properly. That's not what we want. Okay, so this one's in here. Look how pretty that now is. And then the other one as well. I'm going to put my tape on the edges exactly the same way. Oops. And then everything's the right way up. It is. I'm going to put this one in place. Nicely flush against the edge. Like this. Like this. Okay. And there it is. It's done. What I'm now also going to do is totally optional. I'm going to add a little bit of this trim just on the outside edge, in front and the back cover. Don't have to do that at all. You can also, if you have more, because I don't have more, use it as a ribbon for closure, whatever you want. But this is a bit of a shabby vintage kit, and I wanted to just add a bit more to it. Okay, I'm going to cut these size. That's one. And I'm just going to glue this in right here so that most of it will peek out. I'm gonna use this one again, just a tiny bit. Not too much, because otherwise it will seep out. And put this on top. And let it dry. Yeah, some of the glue is still visible. That's okay. It will dry clear. I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the other side here. And am I going to keep this little leftover? You bet I'm gonna keep this little leftover. I'm also going to make it a little bit more vintagey by adding some ink to the edges of this cover. Could have done that before, but I can still do it now. Just to make it look a bit more old. Always using the same ink here. Yeah, I don't mind getting some ink on that lace. Makes it look a little bit older. See what a little bit of ink can do. Instant vintage. And if you like, you can also add some extra ink to the back here. There. Guess what? We're ready. So the book opens like this. All my pages, and you can hardly see the tabs they were used because they're all hidden inside the pages. Like this, it falls open really, really flat. It's very handy to write in. And indeed, if you pull gently on the back, it will open a bit like an accordion. You're not supposed to do that, but it's pretty to see. So this is a totally different way of binding a journal or a booklet. Normally in most tutorials that you see on YouTube, you see the whole strips on your pages and they will cover part of your pages. And that can be beautiful. For me, they're a bit in the way, especially if you use a lot. So I'm very happy that I can now show you how to hide them, and then you also don't need to print your journal pages double-sided. So this is just another way. Okay, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. You can share the video link with your crafty friends. And if you like an extra freebie, just opt in via the link in the description to get everything. And now I wish you a very beautiful day. Bye-bye.